Hey everybody, welcome back to the program. Today in the vinyl pad, I have one of the hardest working musicians in rock. Here is Danko Jones.
Hey.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So you are here in California, you're playing, what, 4 shows?
4 shows, yeah, that start tomorrow in San Diego, LA, San Francisco, and Huntington Beach.
Yeah. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, California shows are always fun.
This is in support of your 9th album.
Yes,
A Rock Supreme.
A Rock Supreme, yes.
Yeah. And you're playing the Viper Room.
Yeah, we were there 2 years ago. And we've played there a bunch of times over the last dozen or so years. So we're familiar with the club and the stage, and it'll be a hot, sweaty one when we do it. Yeah, so it'll be good.
Growing up, was the Sunset Strip on your radar? Was that like a place to go?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I mean, especially being from Toronto, Canada, especially in the winters.
Yeah.
And then you see these bands who are flaunting, you know, the beach and the girls and the sunshine and everything. It did definitely make me, like a David Lee Roth video, it made me want to like check it out. But, you know, I was just a kid. And so coming here now and playing the Sunset Strip, it's kind of cool for, you know, being an old rock fan. This is our 24th year as a band. And our first year was 96, and we opened up our first hometown gig opening up for the New Bomb Turks. So it's not as if sometimes bands will go, oh yeah, we've been around for 10 years, but there's like 4 years of that you were playing in your mom's basement. That doesn't count. So 24 years of us playing shows in public, outside of our jam space or the garage or the basement. And if you stick around long enough and you don't quit, then eventually you kind of, if not invited to the party, at least you're given a flyer to the party. There was a moment when we all quit our day jobs.
Yeah.
And that was 99 for me. I was working in a record warehouse or a CD warehouse, or whatever. And it was just a bunch of us musicians, you know, we were just packaging CDs. And when I left that job, it was because we had to make a commitment to do this full time. And there's no plan B as well. So that's another kind of tricky thing you have to do in order to make sure you survive. And it's such a gamble.
Well, you've made it. I mean, you're proof. You've made it work. So.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I mean, we've played on 6 of the 7 continents, and we've done over 40 countries, and we've put out 9 records. So things are happening. Say hi to the devil and ring the bell. Gonna burn in hell. America is an interesting animal for a hard rock band to tackle in 2020 or even in 1999. It's just not the most popular type of music anymore. We play an old kind of music, you know, filtered through, you know, new hands. I mean, Gene Simmons' online quote of rock and roll is dead made a lot of, you know, online traffic, but it did so much damage, I think, for rock bands today.
Yeah.
And you know, that's why on my podcast I do this yearly thing where I showcase 10 new rock and roll bands every year, and I'm you know, every year there's like I have to cut 4 or 5 because there's just that many, and they're great. They're all really amazing, and they're doing original hard rock music in this day and age. For the most part, people think, you know, rock and roll music is, you know, it ends with, you know, U2 and Foo Fighters and the Rolling Stones. And what they don't understand is that there's a huge huge ocean of deserving, bands that are still doing it.
If I'm going down, then I'm going down with a fight. I got my fists up high.
I'm talking about guitar-driven genres like punk rock and heavy metal. There's a real network within the scene. There's an infrastructure and a network that, especially in punk rock, that spans globally. Like you can go in every corner of the world and there's a punk rock band playing like a basement. But in rock and roll, like hard rock or rock and roll, there isn't a scene like that. We're all kind of islands to ourselves, just looking at each other. And I just wish that there was more of a structure and it was more organized. There's no Lollapalooza for rock bands, and there's no magazine that caters to rock music like there is for heavy metal bands. And there's no like unifying online hub like a Blabbermouth or a Punk News or a Riot Fest or a Wacken Open Air Festival or Hellfest or Punk Rock Bowling for rock music and rock bands, and that is the problem in the genre.
There's never been any doubt. We got this thing come down.
Okay, so I have to say one of the things that really touched me was this album art. And I gotta know, were you one of those kids that built a lot of models?
No. Well, the story behind the cover is Ulf Lundin, he did the cover. He's done stuff for Graveyard. I think it was like the story goes, he didn't have time to really, do a mock-up from scratch. But he had an early version of this.
Okay.
Meant for another band that I think it was abandoned for them. And so he obviously changed a lot of it, put a lot of our stuff in it. For example, old album covers and logos and stuff like that. And then there's other like things that are harken back to song titles and stuff. So there's little things in there. I love those kinds of albums where you have to take a third and a fourth look at before you really get everything. I like that it was a girl who was like the rocker, because there are a lot of them at our shows, and I just don't find that they're represented. So it was nice to have her on the cover as well, and we loved the final result.
Yeah.
Not because I think we all made car models when we were growing up, but more that it's just chock full of so much stuff to look at. So that's why I loved it. And so I think Ulf really hit it out of the park and kept with, how great his Graveyard covers were. I think this is great too.
Dance, dance, dance. I love to watch you move that body. Dance, dance, dance. I can watch it every day.
I think we were talking off camera about, I'm in the middle of cataloging my collection. I've been doing it since before Christmas because I was on tour in November, and I was talking to some people, and they said it's good to do that for insurance purposes. So that was a real life reason to do it. I didn't understand why people catalog put it on Discogs before they said that. And it's really helped me connect with my collection and going and reminding myself of albums I've had that have just been kind of hidden for years. And then especially finding out the actual market value of these things that you got for like $5 or $10 are now like over $100. And I've been told it's the median minus 10%. That's the market price.
Oh, that's I like that.
Yeah, so even that, I'm just like freaking out over some titles that I bought on a whim. Buying records has become a hobby, or an addiction to me, where I'm buying it and I just don't have time to even listen to it. So all the new vinyl gets put.
Sounds like me.
Yeah, it just gets put in a pile. I think people know this. It just gets put in a pile. I don't file it away until I listen to it. So there's like,
I'm the same way.
Yeah, new purchases. It's just getting to be an annoying stack of records that I look at every time I pass by. I'm like, oh God, I just gotta. Yeah, I know. I gotta go and I gotta listen to this. Stack. It's almost a chore.
It's so funny.
So-
You have no idea how much
Yeah.
I can relate to that.
It was amazing when I found it in the record store. It's
Yeah,
almost like just
yeah.
a hunter-gatherer kind of
Yeah.
instinct to just nab it. Mm-hmm. And then when you bring it home, well, the activity is done. Oh, there's another part to the activity, which is actually listening to it.
I know I'm crazy, but so are you, baby. Crazy. Yes, we are. Crazy.
It's an odd time to be record collecting, especially in the world of Spotify and the digital age and streaming.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I find myself volleying back and forth between the two. Like I listen to Spotify all the time. I use that.
Like I use Spotify a lot too, and because otherwise, I think I'd go bankrupt trying to buy everything on vinyl that I listen to on Spotify. But I do find that I listen differently. Do you listen differently between putting on a record versus Spotify?
Yeah, no, it's true. With Spotify, it allows you to sample stuff, and you can just give it a quick listen. Whereas, it takes some effort to turn the record over and put the needle on. So you don't want to like give it you really have to sit down and listen to it.
Yeah.
Since you made the effort to get up from the couch, turn it in the middle of whatever you were doing, turn the record over and put the needle on.
Yeah.
So it kind of handcuffs you to the album stronger than Spotify. You could just like skim through it or move your finger across to the middle of the song. God, this is such a long intro. It's just this fucking, when's this going to get going? And you can just it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
So there's that as well. A fun fact about Spotify is we were the first band in the world to put out a live Spotify-only album.
Oh, we didn't talk about your book.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about this.
Well, it's a collection of articles I wrote for various magazines over a 10-year period. And I got illustrators to illustrate some of them because I thought, wow, I don't want to like sell people something they might have already bought in a magazine
Sure,
already. So
yeah.
I got friends and people that I really admired to participate.
I think it's in there. You tell that story of meeting Johnny Cash.
That was a real true story when I met Johnny Cash, and I was working at a record store, and I sold him a Nirvana album.
That's cool.
Because he was going to play on a Willie Nelson tribute album with Dave Grohl and Chris Novoselic.
Yeah.
And he wanted to know what Nirvana sounded like.
Everybody says the girl's no fun. Stuck up thinks she's better than everyone. They only see what's on the outside, but that girl's the one.
You have some stories with Lemmy in here too, I think.
Yeah, there's another story.
That's great.
An illustrated story again
Yeah.
about Lemmy. I actually wrote that for the book. And then
Awesome.
Gary Dumm from American Splendor, known for American Splendor comics, he illustrated it. And it was the time that I sang with, I sang with Motorhead like close to 20 times over the
Yeah,
years, but
that's
there's
cool.
this one specific time where I sang this one song. It was called Born to Raise Hell, and Lemmy wanted to know if I knew the song or not. And so I had to pretty much audition while we were on tour with Motorhead, I might add. And I was singing Killed by Death with them. I'd already sung it like many times to this point, but they were wondering if I could sing Born to Raise Hell with them. And I kind of knew it. Like I knew the chorus, like anyone would know the chorus. So I had a couple of hours before I had to go into his dressing room and sing it to him. So I learned it in that time period. I literally sang the song, Born to Raise Hell. Lemmy was Where You Are, and I had to sing it with him. He had an iPod, and he played the song on his iPod, and then he stared at me, and he would mouth it too with me while I was singing the song. It was one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done. But at the end of it, I passed, and I sang the song with him that night. So it's great.
All right, Danko, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, man. This was fun. It was a lot of fun.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to go over to Danko Jones's website, check out the podcast, obviously the album, and the book. Until then, I'm your Vinyl Geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side.